gangstas, take two. Oh yeah. Just to set the record straight so nobody asks questions or tries to expect me to know things about it. I don't watch football. I just like the sweater. Okay. So yeah, that's that. And not that I don't like football. I guess it's not that I've never liked football. I just, there comes a time in your life where you're just kind of over big, muscular men sweating all over each other, So, anyway, back to this. How to read tarot cards. So, I brought out my deck. That is the closest to the Rider-Waite deck that I have in imagery. So, I thought that would be helpful. Yes. Let's get cracking on this. Actually, it might not be. I just realized I have a whole other deck that might be a little bit more. Thank you, Spirit. Yeah. But you know what? I've already busted this one out, whatever. So, we've got our major and our minor arcana in our tarot decks, right? It's kind of structured like a playing card deck, You've got your kings, your queens, your aces, your all that, Major arcana are like the trump cards. They're kind of like they're the things that like major arcana is like the main quest line, right? These are big transformations. These are significant moments in your life, right? Whereas the minor arcana is more the day-to-day mundane kind of shit, like yeah. So and also every zodiac sign is represented by a major arcana card, right? So, or some of them, a couple of them, and so like, yeah, and I'm gonna run through this with you, how the zodiac is tied to the major arcana, because I feel like that's important. You get a real understanding of how to read the major arcana when you understand the zodiacs. So let's get cracking. We have Aries. Yes. The Emperor and Empress cards. And that's for a reason. Okay, let's talk about that. So Aries is ruled by Mars, right? Very divine masculine energy. However, we have the Empress here too, right? If we look at the Empress, she's always pregnant, or, and her shield is always like a heart or symbolic of love in some way. Well, I wouldn't say she's always pregnant. Sometimes she's not, but typically the nature of that card is like creativity, birthing, fertility, or just bringing something to life, right? Like a project or something. Men sit in the divine feminine very often, actually. Masculine men sit, and it's because divine masculine, divine feminine is really the opposite sides of the brain, right? Like if we looked at the Emperor, right? A lot of feminine females sit in the Emperor a lot. It's like standing in your power, being a strong leader. It's being very business minded, If I had to break these down into subjects, I would say like science, business, resourcefulness, like this is a strong, leader. And then like over here we've got like our literature, our creativity, our spirituality, just chilling on this side. It's opposite sides of the brain, right? And so that's why a lot of people do get confused about the gender in tarot, but it's not like it is for people, right? I mean it is, but it isn't. Like we fucked it up with gender roles. If we understood it at the core of, like, if we understood it the way we understand the way the feminine and masculine work in the universe, then that would be more beneficial to us, really, than just saying penis, masculine, vagina, feminine. It's like, that's not always the fucking case, right? It's not always the fucking case. And a lot of the times, I would say, I see more females sitting in the divine masculine these days than ever, actually. They're like, fuck it, I'll be my own goddamn man. I love Aries. I feel like Aries, those are the kind of people that become like fucking presidents and activists. You know, they could single-handedly run this place. Okay, no problem. Alright, so we got Aries out of the way. Taurus. Oh yes, where are you, Taurus? I know you're in here somewhere. Okay, there you are. We have the Hierophant, right? The Hierophant is another divine masculine, who's very in touch with the divine feminine, right? So it's like, it's a beautiful energy. With the Hierophant, you always see him kind of like in priest garbs, right? Oftentimes that's like a spiritual leader, right? Or, somebody who is like really dedicated to their work, their purpose. They're driven. They master their skills. They hone their skills. You know, they're like, this is very, I love this energy. Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? And that's where the feminine comes in, right? And it's an earth sign, so it's a very, very like grounded, right? They try to think as logically as possible, right? Oftentimes for like air and fire signs, it's hard because air and fire signs are like way out in the clouds and they're like far from Earth, you know? And it's like, but you know, Taurus can have like one of two effects on them. Like one, they bring them back down to Earth, or two, they just like completely repel because they're like on different planes of existence, right? For me, as an Aquarius though, I've noticed that I've hella vibe with Taurus. Like, I love the grounding effect. Although I'm very, I would say I'm very, open. You know, I'm open to hearing different perspectives and stuff. If you're not, it would be a lot harder. But for me, it's like, if you think different from me, I want to learn from you. I want to know why, you know? So, you know, that's a whole thing. Taurus are awesome. They're a fixed sign, right? So they can be traditionalists. They kind of like, they can be modern, right? But they love that old school shit. Like that old school romance. They like, a Taurus is all about that shit. If you come at them with some like old school romance, you throw on some Kenny G, you got the candles everywhere, they're in love. Okay? They're in love. There's nothing they can do at that point. You don't, no fucking love spells needed. Okay? Like, that's just because they're ruled by Venus. Like, they find deep love in stability and like things that make them feel safe, things that you know, they like being spoiled a little bit. I like that though. I like that because it's like that's where they tap into their feminine, where they're kind of like, you know, I like it. Okay. Yeah, so Geminis. Where are you, my little Geminis? I know you're in here somewhere. Ah, yes. They're represented by the Lovers, right? Because they are the twins, which automatically makes my brain see the Lovers as twin flames. Okay. And so in the Lovers, you really see this heavy balance of the masculine and feminine, right? You also see them being very divinely guided, right? I feel like that's important. You should know that about Gemini. Gemini, they are little masters of disguise because they look like your average Joe. And then the second they start talking and spitting some realness, it's like you see a whole other level to this person, right? They have depths, right? They're ruled by Mercury, right? They're like hella intellectual and they know how to hide it, man. They know how to hide it. They'll just be like, and it's not even like they're trying. They're just so authentic to themselves. They're just like, so like, yeah, whatever. And people underestimate them because they ain't walking around in some business suit all the time trying to act like they're something else. They're like, yeah, I'm hella intellectual. Also, I'm gonna wear, you know, this fucking bright pink tutu and walk around drinking fucking Mai Tais, okay? Like, I don't give a fuck. Let's talk about string theory, actually, you know? It's like, I love that. Their element is air, obviously, you know, very, very thinky energy. I love Geminis. I'm gonna say this for every sign. I love them. Okay, there's a reason that I love every sign. It's I feel like the more I do these readings, the more in tune with their nature I've gotten, and more I understand like how they kind of their minds kind of operate. You know. Gemini is a mutable sign, meaning that like they're not really traditionalists. They like to break the mold a bit. Like they like to try new things. They like to experiment with life a bit. They like kind of taking charge. They are leaders in their own right for that. You know, they have such a balance of the masculine and feminine that they can be both leaders and creative, and you know they're very multifaceted. Like these people, like if you have a Gemini on your team, shit's getting done. Okay, like shit's getting done. Bottom line. Cancer. I love Cancer. Cancer is my rising sign, actually. And they are represented by the Chariot. Alright. So the Chariot is pretty fucking dope. It's all about movement, right? You never corner a Cancer, okay? I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you try to be too clingy, you try to smother them, you try to control what they are doing, they will run, okay? They are the runners. Runaway Bride was all about the Cancer sign, okay? Literally, like, they are their own fucking thing. They will run for their freedom, for everything. They are gypsies, okay? They are, you know, like you imagine like an old band of gypsies like traveling, running away to go live a prosperous life, doing their own fucking shit, working, being their own fucking boss. That's Cancer, right? They are most likely going to be their own boss by the end of their own life because they don't like rules, right? They don't like other people's rules. They like their rules, you know? I respect that. And I represent that. So their ruling planet is actually not a planet anymore. It used to be a dwarf planet. It's the moon. The moon is, it also indicates they're very psychic, okay, very intuitive. They are very tapped in to the matrix, you know, the ether. Like, I would say they're walking fucking lie detector test, you know, this is, and, you know, they're also, yeah, especially being a water sign, right? Cancer's a water sign. So water signs are typically very intuitive, right? They feel emotions like they're inside water, right? And that's emotions. And when the water starts getting all fucking rumbly and the storms are coming, they feel it inside and they're like, you know, and like, and they know. And then they start going. They're like, okay, it's time to leave. The storm is brewing. When shit's calm, you know, they really feel the energy of a room like they're swimming in it. Like, and you don't see that they're swimming in it. I see that they're swimming in it, but you don't see that they're swimming in it. You know, and so that's it's a whole thing. Cancer signs are very, very psychic. I love that about them. I feel like one of my old roommates is a Cancer, and one of the best things I loved about her is that we could just sit in a room in the dead silence, you know, and just understand each other. It was almost like we were having a conversation without having to open our fucking mouths. Like there was just this deep understanding, you know. Being in the presence of a Cancer is it's magic, you know. It's straight up magic. Hold on one second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Yes, so Where were we? Oh, yes. Next card, Leo. We've got 2 cards for Leo, actually. I'm just going to say it where everyone can hear it. And I'm sorry, but it's true. Leo might actually be the best sign. It might actually be the best sign. I mean, their cards are the Sun card and the Strength card, right? 2 of the best fucking cards in the deck. The Sun card, there's no reverse meaning. It's just happiness, abundance, prosperity, getting in touch with your inner child, being creative. That is all kind of the energy of how you would feel in the presence of a Leo. Okay? And I say that because, like, one of my, like, best friends right now, well, I mean, we've known each other for, like, a decade, but we just recently reconnected into our friendship because, you know, life drifts you apart and then the giant reunion comes. But yeah, definitely I would say she's like one of my best friends. Also a previous roommate. But she's a Leo, and like being in her presence is like, it's always great, you know? There's some people that are just fucking like that. Like they just have this presence that's just overwhelmingly optimistic. I would say overwhelming, like, but not in a bad way. It's like, you know, when sometimes things are so good it can feel a little overwhelming. It's like that. But like, I love it. I vibe on it. I'm like, yeah, so, you know, it'd be like that. Then the Strength card, right? They have to overcome a lot in their lifetime. It's kind of part of their life path. They are typically, they go through a lot of internal battles that you would never know about. Because they don't talk about it, and they're always smiling and when they're around other people. If you notice, though, they do, like, hibernate a lot. You know, they need a lot of recovery time. They need a lot of time to themselves to kind of, like, you know, do it up. Also, they love ice cream. I don't know why, like, every Leo I've ever met is a fucking ice cream head. I love it, because I love ice cream. So, you know, you want a cool person to eat ice cream with? Leo's where it's at. Yeah, so Leo's element is fire, right? That's all, like, passion and drive, motivation. It's just, like, that Aries energy, very strong. Leo is a fixed sign. Which means that they can be a bit of a traditionalist. You know, they can be very progressive, but at the core of who they are, they hold true to, like, I would say, like, their own traditions. You know, they're the kinds that like to, they take, I don't know how to say this. They're not fixed in the same way I would say that a Taurus is fixed. You know, like, they're not a traditionalist in that sense. I would say that their morals, like, their expectations of people to show up being upfront and honest. And, you know, like, they have strong, they hold people in high regard, so they expect the best out of those people. And if you show them, like, a lower vibrational version of yourself, then typically they're not going to love that, right? They're going to be like, you know, like, Leos, they like to know that you're strong and powerful too. It's like, yeah, because they've had to overcome so much, they get impatient with people who are like always, you know, like sitting there like, I'm a victim. You know, like, you know, they don't vibe like that. They're kind of a traditionalist. I would say, like, how you would see somebody, like, almost in the military. Like, you know, when they are, when they've developed their set of values and their morals and stuff, that's what's fixed. You know, that's the thing that they really hold true to, you know, like, and why it's hard for me to call them traditionalists is because they could be poly, you know. They have that kind of progression about them. You know, they like, I mean, they're a fire sign too, so they like a lot of excitement and experimentation in the bedroom, you know. And so they can break a lot of traditions. They like taboo. You know, that's kind of a thing. They like taboo. And so it's like, which I respect the shit out of that. But it's almost like they're fixed in that, like in the fact that they're, you know, kind of going against the grain. I don't know. It's so, the Leos are hard to explain. Okay, if you know a Leo, you'll understand. Go talk to your fellow Leo. They're out there. Honestly, a conversation with a Leo always makes you feel like you came out with more knowledge and more understanding than you did going into it, right? And I think that's really fucking cool, you know? Because I'm a learner. I love learning. So, like, if somebody's gonna just always show up with something for me to learn, then I'm like, what? We gotta hang out every day. What are we doing? And honestly, like, I realized real quick, like, when I started hanging out with my friend again, that, like, for so long, I had been telling people, oh, I don't have time to hang out. I ain't, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, and then she moves up the street, and then all of a sudden I have time. And I'm like, oh, wait, maybe part of this is choice. But, you know, it's like, I can't help it. I'm drawn to conversation. People know how to draw me in. I'm like, weed and talking. I love it. Yes. So, you know, it is what it is. On to the next, Virgos. All right. Virgos. So they're represented by the Hermit card. Do not let this fool you. Do not let this fool you. Okay, yes. I would say they do like to spend a lot of time like in their zone, doing their own thing. They're the kind of person you would find as like a gamer, or they like to binge watch a lot of Netflix. You know, they're excellent hibernators, but also they can be the life of the party. Okay, that's another aspect of the Virgo. It's I would say the most prominent people in my life, the people who have changed me the most in my entire life, have always turned out to be Virgos. Okay, always. It's kind of fucking hilarious because, like, I'm, you know, I feel like, yeah, there's just a lot to be learned from them. There's a lot of growing you could do in the presence of a Virgo, right? Virgo is ruled by Mercury, right? So they're excellent thinkers, right? They know how to, well, they know how to talk to me. So, you know, like, that's helpful. They're an earth sign, though, so they are also very, like, down to earth. They want to think logically, tangibly. You know, they're very, like, grounded. At the same time, though, like, they can be kind of aloof, you know? I mean, you know, their modality is mutable, so that's kind of why, like, they're not set in that hermit mode, right? And they're able to kind of bounce around their chart a little bit more. Let me see. Virgos, I love Virgos. Okay, I do. They're like my fucking kryptonite. I don't know why. You know, it's just kind of like, I mean, hell, the only person who ever got me to marry them was a Virgo, you know? So it's like, and the only person that got me to stay for a decade was a Virgo, you know? So it's like, what can I say about them? They challenge your mindset, right? Because they're Mercury, you know, they're ruled by Mercury. So they like challenging, like, your mindset. They like challenging what you believe, or like, they like, trying to understand from your point of view too, right? They can be open-minded, and they can hold a fucking conversation, and that is so nice. They oftentimes they have like hidden talents, right? Like shit you wouldn't even know about. Like you'd be hanging out with them and they just seem like an average Joe, and then next thing you know, it's like they have like they've painted portraits or fucking murals or something, or they're tattoo artists, or they're doing all this other cool shit, you know? They're always doing cool shit. That's one thing I really respect about Virgos is, like, they like doing cool shit. They would be the type that you want to take them camping, you want to take them to the beach, you know, they're always doing cool shit. I would say, like, they're good adventure buddies. You know, if you're looking for a friend for the end of the world, like, pick a Virgo, you know? And, you know, even though, like, yeah, my shit ended the way that it did with a Virgo, I still say, like, pick a Virgo. They could be some of the coolest people you'll ever spend time with, you know? And I stand by that. I stand by that. Alright, so Libra. Alright, now their card is Justice. However, you will often find it followed up with the Judgment card, right? So I feel like that's important to kind of bring up. Justice is all about balance, right? It's all about, you know, restoring the balance, right? It's also, I would see it here as like a court card, like you're going to court, right? You see, it kind of looks like a judge here. Then we've got like a divine calling, the trumpet being, you know, blown. Oftentimes, if somebody's facing like a divorce or a lawsuit or something, you'd find these in there together. On the flip flop, Gucci flip flops, the Judgment card really calls to divine judgment or your own judgment. You know, in the reverse, I would say it's like, you know, a lapse in judgment. You know, think of the upright meaning, right? And then, you know, reversing that, it's just the opposite meaning. Or sometimes it means that it's already happened, depending on, you know, where you've placed it and how you're perceiving it. Intuition is really most of the reading, right? Some people read on intuition alone. They don't even, like, try to learn shit. And they still get really fucking good readings out of that, you know? We all got our way. And I don't judge nobody's way. But yeah, so Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus as well, right? Venus, okay, I would say people who are under these planets, or who are under this planet, sorry, under these signs, the Libra and the Taurus, those are the kind of people who will mate for life. You know, if you are a good match for them, they would absolutely mate for life. They love being in love. You know, like, what can I say? Also, their element is air, so they're an air sign. So they've got like this natural balance between head and heart, though. So like, if something's not right, they have the capacity to walk away from it. So like, they could potentially like choose to be alone or whatever. But, you know, they don't necessarily have to. You know, they could, you know, if they find a really solid partner, they could mate for life. Let's see. Yeah, so they're cardinal too, right? So this is like your kings, your queens, right? They are, I almost say that they're cardinal in a whole other way as well, because they're all about justice, right? Restoring that balance. Oftentimes, how you treat a Libra determines a lot about what happens to you as a person. You know, I really believe that a lot of people are put on this planet to be tests, you know, and how you treat that person, not understanding how spiritually developed they are, or how, you know, whatever, like, just based on judgments or whatever, how you treat them really determines your future. You know, it's like, that's where the judgment comes in for me, right? That's where Judgment Day comes in, because, like, I feel like I've seen people do horrible shit to Libras, and their entire world falls apart, right? their entire world falls apart because people don't understand. Libras sit in that power. It's like a divine thing. Like, this is kind of like it's, and it kind of sucks for Libras though, because then they're met with a lot of people who need Judgment Day, and so they're kind of placed there as like a little like, how do they treat you, and then the divine's like, all right, we gonna whoop their ass, just get back on your horse, and it's like, and so Libras can oftentimes feel a little like thrown around by the universe a little bit, but they're strong enough to handle it, and it's kind of like their purpose here, they're like the Hercules, they're like they're meant to endure a lot because their purpose is big, and they love a lot. They're very fair, I would say that too about them with the Justice card. They're very fair. I do appreciate that about them. Yeah, so Scorpio. My little Scorpions. Wait a second. I think I'm missing a card. Let me check my deck. I think I forgot to grab. That was my dramatic gasp. That really wasn't unnecessary. I'm just saying. Let's see. Where are you? Ah, there you are. Okay. Scorpios. Ah, I love Scorpios. The little flirts. The little flirts. If you have a good time flirting with anybody, a Scorpio is where it's at. Just saying. They're represented by the Death card. Because their like purpose here is to like kind of like the Libras, I would say. They help people break cycles, right? When you interact with a Scorpio, you are almost like destined for growth, right? And transition. And sometimes growth can be a little uncomfortable. You have to go through a little thing. Scorpios, it's like you'll never be the same after them. After they enter your world, after they enter your life. It's like they leave an impression on you, right? And that's why they're really represented by the Death card, I would say. Because like old cycles die and you're just never the same after you've met a Scorpio. They help evolve you, like they challenge you in ways like that like you didn't even realize you needed to be challenged in, and they set examples that you didn't even realize that you needed, until you got them and you're like, oh my god, Scorpio's onto something. Scorpios are geniuses. I love them. They're ruled by Pluto and Mars, right? Heavy divine masculine energy. Pluto, I would say, is kind of, I would say that's that transformative energy. It's also kind of that energy. When I think about Pluto, I think about how like Pluto gets smaller every year, right? And oftentimes Scorpios have this tendency of giving too much of themselves to people, right? And they'll just give and give and give. If they love, they'll just give and give and give and drain themselves for love, so it's kind of like, they're a water sign, so, they swim in emotions just like the Cancers. Just like the Cancers, they're swimming in it. They can't help it. And they're a fixed sign, so they're traditionalists. They love love, right? There's some signs up in here that really fucking love love, okay? And I would say Scorpio is one of them, right? Yes, they're hella flirtatious. However, they're also very loyal because they would never, ever, ever be able to, fathom, they wouldn't be able to fathom like doing some crazy injustice to a person like that, unless something else in their chart, kind of is more like on another area, you know, because there are some signs out here who are, I would say, more prone to cheating or polyamory or, you know, that kind of thing. I would say, I don't even want to point them out because I don't want you guys being like, I can never trust a sign, you know, because it's not true. You can't just judge it off of that. Some people, you know, some signs, yes, are more prone to it, but it doesn't mean that everyone in that sign is like that, you know. Scorpios are very loyal. Typically, they should be. If they're sitting in their Scorpio energy. And yeah, I love them. So Sagittarius. Alright, this is Earth Angel energy, right? Damn, I forgot the Temperance card too. Let me find that one. I told you guys this was going to be a little longer video. That's why it took me a while to compile it all. It's like, dang. Oh, there we are. So yeah. Temperance. Alright, Sagittarius energy. If you see that angel is filling up that cup, that's all for Sagittarius, right? The divine loves Sagittarius. No, I'm kidding. Sagittarius is that angel, actually. In this depiction, they are the one filling up cups, giving love to people. Really, you know, they're there to help people. I would say they're also very psychic. You know, they have this empathic nature that makes them want to heal everyone around them. Right? It's who they are. It's who they are. Yeah, they're ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is about transition, about adapting, about temperance, right? Really rebalancing yourself after a little bit of, you know, chaos. They're a fire sign, right? So they're no stranger to chaos, you know. And they're also mutable. So, you know, if there's other shit in their charts, they could, you know, lean more towards that. And that's why oftentimes readers will say, like, check your charts, make sure you're looking at other signs in your tarot readings, because you know, you might be like more in another energy. Oftentimes I catch myself in Capricorn, right? That's my north node. But because it's my north node, it's easier to read to listen to the Capricorn readings for me, because then it's more like structured around my divine purpose, right? Like, what's my true north? Where am I headed? So that's why I watch a lot of readings on my true north. I do my sun and moon sign too, which is both Aquarius. But I oftentimes feel like, you know, it just kind of tells me the state of my life more than the direction, you know? Or sometimes it's directional. It depends. I feel like 369 Supreme Tarot gets me the best on Aquarius readings. He's pretty awesome. You guys should actually subscribe to him. I love that guy. He's showing spirituality on a whole other level, and I fucking respect that shit. Cheers to you, you know. He's always smoking blunts and cussing, and I'm like, that's the kind of spirituality we need in the world. Like, people who understand God ain't so fucking rigid. You know, God gave us weed for a reason, and God's not scared of words. Okay, bottom line, like, they're just little words. You know what bugs God is? The fucking connotations, the meanings. You could say a word without any cuss, or a whole sentence without any cuss words, and say the meanest fucking shit to somebody, right? It's more context than what you're saying, because God understands the energy of what you're saying. You know, and I feel like 369 gets that. Yeah, 369 Supreme Tarot, he gets it. He gets it. I'm just saying, some readers out here really fucking get it, and that guy gets it. So if you're an Aquarius out there, that's a dude. You should watch his videos. I'm sorry, guys. It's Pineapple Express. Last night it hit so hard I fucking stepped in my lasagna. I was like, oh my gosh. This is actually really fucking good. Don't ask me why my lasagna was where I could step in it. I was stoned, okay? Oh yes, there you are. Capricorn is represented by the devil, right? I know, I just said this is my north node. I am the beast. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I know, but, yeah, so the devil. This is, okay, let's read this in the more optimistic side of what the devil means. This is somebody who, like, in regards to my north node, right? Like, if we were thinking of it in terms like that, this would be, because if you're reading for a Capricorn, you should know this. It's all about, somebody who has been so selfless and so serving, subservient to others. It's like about taking your power back and doing more for yourself, right? It's about standing in your power and not being afraid to achieve more, accomplish more, not being afraid to indulge and be happy, and do things that really make you happy. Don't overindulge, there's like a level to it. But, if Capricorn is like your sign or whatever, and the devil pops up in your reading, this is a great sign for you. Oftentimes, and it could be a great sign for other reads too. Oftentimes, though, it's more the negative connotation I've seen. And you'll really feel it in context with the cards around it. But yeah, so like the devil card is all about like narcissism. Like if you see like these lovers chained to this post and the devil's just like chilling between them, keeping them close but not allowing them to ever get close to each other, right? It's the devil energy is it could be kind of a negative thing. It's just like somebody, like, if you're an empath, you cannot fathom how evil somebody can be sitting in the devil energy. Some people are so evil, it's like they just don't have, like, a good intention in their body, and that's really fucked up. And those people are represented by the devil. And oftentimes Libras date them. okay, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, just saying, Libras, watch your back. But yeah, truth though. All right, so Aquarius, Aqua Gang, what a bang! All right, so they're represented by the Star card. Star card represents faith and hope, ambition, drive, finding that light at the end of the tunnel. You see this girl, she's like, in tarot, water is all about emotions and love, right? And she's got like a jar of water and she's pouring it out onto the earth. Then if you notice, she's in control of where her emotions go. She's in control of her emotions. That's the Aquarius. They control their emotions. They decide when to unleash them. Okay, that's and if you push an Aquarius far enough, this could be a negative thing. They decide when to unleash it. So they could be the low key. Don't tell any Aquarius I fucking told you this, but they could be real fucking romantics, guys. They could lay it on thick, Kenny G style, like, I mean, you want a good hidden romantic, that's the fucking Aquarius. Like, they'll have a rough exterior, because they're an air sign, right? They're all thought, right? They're ruled by, Uranus and Saturn, right? They're like, also, like, I would say they're very protected, but Uranus and Saturn is so, like they're in that divine masculine, they're very logical, they're very they're the most intellectual sign in the zodiac, right? Whereas like I would say Leos are like probably the most psychic sign. I would say Aquarius is like the most intellectual, right? And that's kind of why they're equal opposites on the zodiac wheel. Um, so yeah, it's like they, every zodiac has kind of like their superpower about them. Like Capricorns and Tauruses, like they could make money like that. Pentacles. Pentacles is all Earth energy, which I'll get to in a moment. But yeah, hopefully this is gonna be a long fucking reading. What time is it? Yeah, dude. Yeah. Um, I might not get to my readings today because this is going to be a big one. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so Aquarius is a fixed sign as well. So, they're kind of like Leo in the sense that they're fixed in their stubbornness, right? I'd say, they like breaking tradition. They like making new traditions. They like breaking the mold. Where they're fixed on is like their mindsets. If somebody like, tries to be like, what's a good example? Where, you know what, maybe I shouldn't give you that kind of weapon against an Aquarius. Okay, you don't need that battle on your hands. But Aquarius are very, it's like mind over matter or mind over heart, like they would rather think in life than like, like they don't come off as very like, they come off as cold and distant. Honestly, that's what we've been called a lot in every relationship. I like had a boyfriend who like wanted to make me cry at one point because he just never saw it. He was just like, why don't you do that? I'm like, what? Why would I? And now, like, it's funny, I've, like, broken the seal and I'm able to, like, kind of cry now, but it took years to get there. It took years of, like, allowing myself some vulnerability. I had to tap into my Cancer in, my chart, but yeah, so, like, Aquarius are, the most misunderstood sign in the whole zodiac, I would say. And I have a bias with saying that. But honestly, the only person who would understand an Aquarius is another Aquarius. Everybody else, they'll get close, they'll have an idea, but you'll never understand an Aquarius. You'll never get the operations of that mindset unless you're another Aquarius, and then you get it, right? They're the kind of friend that they might drop off the fucking map for like 3 months and come back like nothing happened, and then they're like, and then if somebody gets upset about it, they're like, why? Oh my gosh, dude, I just realized something. And that's funny. In this Hermit card, he's got a little star in his lantern, right? Like, you know what? And I was just talking about how like Virgos are like my kryptonite. That's why they captured the star. Oh my gosh, little star keepers. Dude, if you get an Aquarius Virgos out there, remember that they're way up in the clouds. Okay, like they're not going to be where you're at. So yeah. Pisces. That's what's next. They're ruled by Neptune, right? They are awesome. Okay, two of my friend couples, so I guess it's 4 people, but they are a pair of Aquarius and Pisces, right? And it's kind of funny because like if you think about, if you're just looking at the structure of them on paper, you'd be like, how the fuck does this work? But honestly, like my friends, like there's one couple is like they, how do I explain them? They're just like one it's like hard to say it without their names. You know what? I'm gonna go get their permission and then I'm gonna come back and talk about their relationships because I wouldn't talk about that. They're like very it's like the psychicness of the Pisces and the intellectual nature of the Aquarius. Like they're able to vibe, right? And on a whole level that like other people they would never understand them. You know, and so I feel a special like place in my heart for the Pisces, right? Their card is the moon. And they oftentimes then you know the moon, the star, obviously they're gonna, you know, they're gonna understand each other a little bit better. From opposite perspectives, which is funny. It's almost like their differences are what make that situation work because it's like because they're both so curious about each other. It's like two species almost like trying to understand one another. And it's, you know, that's the whole thing. But, yeah, they're ruled by Neptune. My favorite planet. If you've ever looked at a picture of Neptune, it's just the prettiest blue you've ever seen, right? Thank you, Hubble Space Telescope. Yeah, they're a water sign, if you haven't noticed. Little fishies. And the thing about Pisces is fish don't drown, right? And so oftentimes, they're in situations where they feel like overwhelmed, right? With emotion, they're like, they don't know how to handle something. They get a lot of anxiety about life. But then it's like they just never drown. That's like the funny paradox about them. It's like they always manage their way through. They've done it a million times, and yet they still get panicky like it's the first fucking time they've had to deal with it. I think that's where, you know, and I don't know, I was just talking to one of my friends in one of those pairs, and when I saw these cards come up together, I felt like that was prominent to bring up because it was like, it's just funny how like the Pisces, they can get so overwhelmed, so like in their head about shit, and it's like, I mean, it's not funny, but I mean, from the perspective of an Aquarius, it's like, I think that's where the Aquarius kind of steps in and is like, chill, bro. like you've been through this, you've navigated your shit, like you got this, you know. And because they're so controlled in their emotions, you know. So you know, it's kind of funny. They're also a mutable sign, which means that I'd say like mutable signs are great because they're not so stuck in certain mindsets. You know, they're into progression and growth and expansion, new things, new directions. I had to like break my brain to stop being so fixed. You know, like I had to break it and rebuild it. I was just like I was set in my fucking ways in the past. And so I feel like that's kind of a superpower of Pisces is they just, you know, they can swim in any current, you know, they get it. Yeah, and so that's what I have for the zodiac cards. The other cards that we would have in the major arcana, I know it's a long video. We have the world card, which represents like going the distance or completing cycles. I'm gonna go through these fast now. High Priestess. This is the divine counterpart to the Hierophant. Right? You see she looks kind of like a holy divine mother figure, or not mother figure, but divine feminine figure. Because typically she would be, I mean, a high priestess is not like looking at the lustful aspects of life. The high priestess is very spiritual, very in tune. You know, this thing on her head. If you look at any Egyptian hieroglyph, like those are halos. Right, that indicates like her crown chakra being open and having a direct link to the divine, right? Very psychic, right? And we have magician, right? The magician is also very psychic, but they're kind of, they can go one of two ways. One, they could be the type of people who just like kind of you know, keep to themselves in regards to their work. Like, they work kind of in the background, just like manifesting shit, making shit happen for them, really, you know, being the painters of their own path, you know. And the negative aspect of the magician never tells their secrets, right? So they could be secret keepers. They could be people who weave illusions, who can be deceitful. Like the right hand never knows what the left hand is doing, like kind of shit. And it's like, you know, you have to be cautious with those people. Then we have the Tower card, right? The Tower card is kind of, I actually like this card. I feel like towers, you know, they represent, you know, something falling apart so that something new can, you know, and kind of like I said, I had to break my brain and rebuild it. That was a tower for me, you know, and oftentimes we have to face these towers and we have to experience that shit, and it's kind of powerful and it's awesome. Unless you're a Pisces, then you're like, you know. But you know, it's it's that shake up, you know. It shakes shit up. It's like, oh, you got too complacent, time to have a little transition. Okay. Because the nature of the universe is to adapt constantly to change. The Hanged Man. No, also I did not show you any of these in order, so just letting you know. The Hanged Man. This represents things holding you up, taking a pause in your path, obstacles, you know, things that distract or deter you. Then we have the Fool card. This is like taking a step or taking a leap into the unknown, that leap of faith. This is like following your heart, taking action towards something. The Wheel of Fortune. This could mean one of two things, you know. It depends on how you're reading it. It usually means good fortune. The tide's turning in your favor, like favorable outcomes, you know, things like that. It could mean the opposite, you know. Depends on how you read. Some people read sideways. I don't. The reason I don't is because when you read sideways cards, it means both the upright meaning and the opposite meaning, and sometimes that's just too much for my brain. I'm like, no, like I need like it to make sense. Like how could it mean the meaning and the opposite, you know? But that's just my own perspective. That's just how I read. Everybody has their own way, and I don't judge anybody for their own way, right? We all gotta figure it out our own way. There's no competition in tarot because every perspective that you could possibly get has a piece of the puzzle for you, you know? So I'm watching readers all the time. I'm supporting that shit. I would love to see more readers in the world, actually. Alright, so now let's get to the suits. We have cups, right? That are all emotions, creativity, nurturing, intuition, relationships, love, you know, and all that. We have pentacles, which is earth, right? So earth signs would be represented in the pentacles. That's, you know, material wealth, money, things you see as valuable that are not money. Sometimes it's love. Sometimes whatever abundance is to you, that's what you would really put it into context with, you know. Sometimes like a queen of pentacles in reverse would be like somebody letting go of something, you know. It could be a relationship or a lifestyle or a job or something, but releasing something, you know, because she's holding so tightly to that pinnacle, that thing that she sees as so valuable. Where are my swords? Air signs, right? So that's all about communication, truth, intellect, thoughts, selectiveness, cutting cords, you know, like think about swords, you know, they could be cold and hard, right? Sharp, you know, so that's really what you're going to be seeing in the swords. Wands is also about communication. That's represented by fire, though. So, you know, that's inspiration, motivation, enthusiasm, action, drive. It's the driving force, you know? And then we go into the numerology from here. So, 1 equals new beginnings. Sometimes it represents oneself, you know, like in Ace of Cups, I often read that as loving oneself, giving that love to yourself. It represents opportunities and potentials. 2, it represents unity, partnership, decisions, crossroads, duality, balance. 3 is all about connections, friendships, third-party situations, especially with like that 3 of Wands. Because it's like a passionate connection, you know, but it's not necessarily like 2 people, it's 3, you know. So you know we have to tie that in a little bit to understand it. But yeah, so 4 is all about foundations, development, structure, manifestations. 5 is about conflict, challenge, transition, and change. 6 is all about material gain, acknowledgement from others, accomplishment. 7 is all about new paths, transformation, decision making, reflection, introspection. 8 is all about mastery of skills, work, development, action. 9 is about gain, nearing the end of a cycle, accomplishment. 10 is about ending cycles, releasing burdens, success, and completion of that cycle. And then 0 is, and I know I started with 1 and I ended with 0. There's a reason. It's because to let you know that you go from one cycle into the next, you know. And so 0 is that leap of faith, that jump into a new cycle. That following your heart, you know, that Fool card. So, yes, that's my notes. But basically, yeah, so that's pretty much the gist, right, of what you need to know in regards. I mean, learning aura colors really helps too. But that's like a whole other day, okay, guys? Because I already filled up a lot of time with this. But yeah, so aura colors is important because when you have really colorful decks, understanding the imagery, right? Understanding what's going on, you know, you get to, you know, really get it. The pictures have a lot to do with it too, you know, like some 8 of Cups are people walking away and some 8 of Cups are people holding out a cup in different decks, different, you know, so it, you know, I read with intuition more than anything, like what you see, what you understand about these cards, and then what you see as you're reading, like you'll start feeling the spirit move through you, right? It's like making music almost, the way you feel that spirit move through you, and you feel just a sense of understanding, and you get like little downloads, and it's like, and you really tap into the divine, which requires you to be empathic, okay? If you are a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath, somebody who is unable to feel empathy, you are unable to read cards, right? You could only read it from the perspective of what you know about the cards, but you couldn't read it from intuition, which is unfortunate for a lot of people. So, you know, and if you're battling with any of those things, I recommend psychedelics. Okay, that's just, you know, allow yourself to be opened up a little bit. But yeah, so, I mean, yeah, once you tap into the divine, though, it's kind of constant. You'll start, Like, I remember being woken up at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning to just start reading. There will be times where you feel called to it, right? Spirit will just be like, bitch, it's time to get up. It's time to get to work. And you just got to, and that's why I'm so tight with God. Because, like, if God's like, hey, you got to do this thing, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that because you said, and because I respect you. And you'll really understand it. I feel like a big part of my awakening was tarot cards. A big part of my understanding of the divine and understanding how the divine speaks to me personally through music, even, because sometimes I'll be like doing a reading and then partway through a song just snaps into my head and I'm like, that's relevant as fuck, there's like a correlation there, and I feel like, and it's cool because then those songs could really help you hear something about the message, and other readers do that too. And I was like, yes, I love that. Because it's true. Like, sometimes it just snaps in your head, or sometimes you get like a physical sensation or like a smell or something, and it really helps you understand the meanings. I don't know. You'll get it if you get it. I can't explain color to a blind person, but if you can see, you can see. You get it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you. This was really fun, doing this how-to video. I might actually, try, doing one on Oracle decks too next, because all Oracle decks are different and there are different ways to read those. So, we might, when people throw out suggestions like this, I'm super open to it, and I will continue it. Like with the Age of Aquarius videos, when somebody recommended me doing that, I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I do it. Like every week, I make sure I throw out at least one. Yeah, so, if you guys want me to dive more into the how-to, and, I even thought about, like, maybe just, having a video where I discuss, like, spirituality, my perspective, and where I'm coming from on it, and why I don't conform to people's ideas of what spirituality should look like, because that's a personal relationship, man. I get my information from somewhere else. I don't get it from humans. If the divine was like, you need to smoke, or you need to stop smoking pot right now, I would stop smoking pot. But it's like, sometimes that shit's just handed to me, and I see that as a sign. Some people are just like, hey, you want some weed? And I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you, God, thank you. It's like, so, but we'll get into that too, because I know people have kind of judged me on that too. And the thing is I don't give a fuck about anybody's opinion, like, I'm not here to look spiritual. I'm just being spiritual. That's a whole other ball game. I'm not going to pretend. Somebody once said, well, if you dressed more like, and I'm like fucking what, dude? I dress like I want. Okay? Bottom line, I dress like I fucking want. I think I've lived enough fucking life cycles. I've dealt with the asses for enough damn life cycles. I can be cozy if I want, okay? And I can smoke my weed because I have to deal with the asses and all your stories, okay? And I think you should understand, this is no easy task, okay, guys? And I like feeling a little lifted, okay? Like, I like keeping my vibes high. Weed helps. It just keeps me on that nice fucking, that nice flow. Sometimes it's just like that, and I'm on that flow even without it. It's just, I like weed, okay, and I'm not gonna feel bad about that. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling. And yeah, but like I was saying, and where I was veering off from, I just wanted to, like, open up to, like, doing more things, to really explain, the process, all this, the tarot cards. Keep a dream journal, bruh. and put stickers on it. Okay, like, come on. I know, like, people would probably be expecting my Book of Shadows to be like something fancy, given like, and I call it a book of shadows. You can call it a journal, whatever. Just whatever your book is, you know, that you put in your shit. Like, for me, it has to look like some middle school ass shit. You know, I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking have some fancy ass looking book. To just whatever. See, that's part of it too. Like, I don't need the false imagery of witchcraft to understand that I understand higher dimensional beings and have a connection with them. You know, I don't need all the external shit. It's all on the inside. It's all something else. You know, smoke resonates differently with me because of that. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys later. Namaste. I love you all. And I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos kind of like this or whatever. Yeah, anyway. Namaste.